Soon in the
And
morning.
it's Amaz, Zain, and Kasem, right?
Okay, yeah.
Gossam, yeah.
Kasem.
Welcome to the Holistic Kids Show. My name is Zane.
My name's Imad.
And my name is Kasim.
So we're the Holistic Kids here to educate us kids from the inside out.
Thanksgiving is almost here!
Yay!
Since when did you like Thanksgiving?
No, I'm only excited about the not going to school part.
Well, this is a time we need to give thanks, and I guess we can be thankful for not going to school. Gratitude is an integral part of our lives, and I'm glad we're celebrating one full day of it. It's really important and needs to be part of our daily routine.
Why?
Let's ask our next guest.
Miss Holly Bertone.
Holly Bertone is a transformational mindset coach, meditation facilitator, motivational speaker, #1 Amazon bestseller, and host of the Gratitude Builds Fortitude podcast. Holly spent 20 years rising through the ranks of federal government service and consulting before breast cancer and autoimmune diagnosis, creating an opportunity to combine her background in project management and analytics with solving a different set of problems. Those days, she's known as the go-to coach and speaker who helps you discover your comeback story in the face of adversity so that you can build mental resilience and achieve greater happiness. She has been featured on over 250 TV and radio segments, articles, podcasts, physical stages, and online summits, and is an expert on gratitude and mindset, including the Dr. Nandi Show. We were on that too. CVS and the Huffington Post. Thank you so much, Miss Holly. We are so honored that you are here to join us today.
It is my honor. Thank you so much for having me. And first of all, I met, I believe, Zane, right?
Yes, I was also on the Dr. Nandi Show.
Yeah, and I know you kids have been on and very exciting. And I remember meeting you and your older brother Abdullah in the green room. So,
Yes.
and I told your mom you were the most well-behaved boys I've ever met in my life. So, yeah, and congratulations on your book. I heard
Thank you
about
so
that.
much.
That's exciting.
It
It's
is
very
really exciting. So we would love to know your story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always like to start before everything happened because I think it's a really good to get the context. And I was one of those overachievers. I mean, I was always the straight A in school, always got the perfect grades. And even as an adult, I always exceeded in my jobs, very successful in my career. I was the chief of staff for a program at the FBI, and I raced mountain bikes and just had what I thought was the perfect life. And then on my 39th birthday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I went through surgery, chemo, and radiation. 1 year later, I never recovered, and I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And I know you guys have had quite a few individuals on your show that have both, cancer survivors and autoimmune, and quite a few experts on your show that address those issues. Well, my autoimmune disease went right into debilitating chronic fatigue. And that became so bad that I went from this athlete and this, super career woman to basically not being able to get out of bed. And I was basically all but bedridden. And my health was so bad that they forced me to resign. So I didn't get fired, but they basically forced me to resign. And that was what I call rock bottom number 3. That was a level of rock bottom that no one should ever have to go through. I mean, breast cancer was hard enough, the autoimmune disease was hard enough, but then to be at a place where I can't even get out of bed, that was the worst because I was so sick. And not just that, I felt like a failure because I couldn't work, I could barely function, and I couldn't take care of my family, and I felt like a failure. And I don't know if you guys have ever had times in your life where you're just like, I just don't feel right. And, it was so bad. But what happened was I made a decision. I made a decision that this was not okay. And I decided to take what I call radical responsibility for my health and my life. And I said, no more. It's not okay to be this sick. And it is not okay that I wake up every day and I feel like a failure. So that's what I did. And I went down this whole path of holistic healing. And I went down this path of finding gratitude. And really it was the holistic healing that helped me to get to the point where I did heal myself. But more than that, it was gratitude that drove the train, that really helped me get to that place of not just the healing, but going beyond and realizing that there is a whole different way to how you can live life.
So when kids wake up, they think about all the things that are going wrong with their lives. And when they go to school, go home, live their lives, it's all surrounded with things that we aren't doing. And when you go on social media, it doesn't get better. It just makes it worse. So why is negativity such a big part of our lives?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for a fact you guys are really big on gratitude, and I know you have a gratitude practice, and
Yes.
maybe in a little bit I want to hear from you what you guys do. But first, let's talk about the negativity because I think that's really important. And what happens is that when something negative happens, it starts really small. And I've got a pug. I don't know if you guys like dogs, but I've got a pug. So this is one of his toys, and it starts really small. And it doesn't really bother us that much. But what happens is that we start to focus on it. And it's all we can think about. And we just kind of think about it over and over again. And then we tell our friends about it over and over again. And our brain says that this is now our headquarters. And it starts to operate out of here, and it starts to think, hey, this negative stuff is kind of a good thing, even though it's really not. Our brain now thinks that it is a good thing. And this is what I call the suffer cycle. And what happens is that it grows. The neurons in our brain that wire together fire together. So these little neurons grow into bigger neurons. And now the negativity gets a lot bigger. And what happens is that when we're now not just upset about something or feeling negative about something, we're full on stressed. And this is when the suffer cycle gets bigger. And I'm sure you've heard of the things like the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
Mm-hmm.
We have our autonomic nervous system, right, that's
Yeah.
divided between the parasympathetic, which is your peace state, and your sympathetic, which is your stress state. And what happens is that your sympathetic nervous system takes over. So, things like this negativity just gets a lot worse. We do things like we can be triggered more often or become angry, or we have these like angry outbursts, or we just want to like go in our room and slam our door and not talk to anyone, you know and so these are some of the things that start to happen when the neurons in our brain that fire together wire together, and the suffer cycle gets bigger. But then what happens is that this is over time. This is over a lot of time. The suffer cycle gets really big. Right? Hang on, you gotta check out his ear. He's got a silly little ear. If you're only listening on audio, I'm holding up a really big monkey. So this is when the neurons in our brain that fire together wire together, so much so that it becomes big, and then it just controls us, and it just takes the suffer cycle takes on a life of its own. And this is when things like disease can happen, when we just have so much of that negativity in our body that it controls us. Instead of saying, I didn't get a good night's sleep, it's now my insomnia. And now your day is dictated based on your insomnia. Or maybe you're feeling a little sad, but you now call it my depression. And now you wake up and that depression is going to dictate the kind of day that you have. But the good news, okay, so we're done with the negative stuff. You guys want to hear the good news?
Yes.
Yes. Well, the good news is that gratitude comes to the rescue. See, isn't this much happier? So, and gratitude brings to the party 4 happy hormones: the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, and the endorphins. And these happy hormones actually help to reverse that negative cycle and help to reverse the suffer cycle. And what happens then, like I said, the neurons in our brain that fire together wire together. So now this happy face, this gratitude is in charge, and this is what's ruling our brain. And it can actually reverse that negativity so that now when we wake up, instead of focusing on all of the negative stuff, we wake up and we focus on joy and love and happiness and peace. And that is what rules our day. And that is why gratitude really can be your new superpower.
But
That is amazing.
But isn't some negativity good?
You know what? It is good. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one is that it's not that negativity is bad, it's how we respond to it. So part of it is it's important for us to feel those feelings. So when we feel sad, when we feel angry, it's important not to just, bypass them and pretend like they don't exist. We need to feel the feelings. But there is a time and a place where it's like, okay, I'm done with feeling the bad feelings. It's time to move on and get out of that funk. But the other thing that happens is that when we go through those tough times, when we go through that negativity, when we can feel gratitude, it gives us, I like to call it the contrast that creates the clarity. So what happens is that if everything was always sunshine and, rainbows and lollipops and happy kisses and, all of the happy stuff in life, right? We wouldn't understand, we wouldn't have that level of appreciation. But when we go through the tough times, it really builds that mental strength. And not only that, it gives us the purpose. It creates this clarity. So for me, realizing that that corporate career really wasn't for me, that I get to go out, I get to speak on stages. I mean, I've had so much adversity in my life. I get paid to speak on stages about failure. Like, isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah.
Right? So, but now, and I have like, just like you guys, I have a podcast. Like, I get to live in this purpose every single day. But I would have never been here if it wasn't through all of the challenging times that I went through. And when you go through those times, it also builds up that myelin in your brain that each time something else happens that's negative, it gets stronger and stronger. So that when the negative times happen, I mean, this is life. We're not immune to negative things. It's always going to happen. Stuff is always going to happen. But when it happens, then we have that myelin in our brain and that mental resilience and the gratitude. What happens is that when we're sad, we're not as sad. It's not as deep. And when we're sad, or when or angry or all of these colorful emotions, they don't last as long. So it doesn't feel as bad, and then it doesn't last as long. So yeah, that's really good. A little bit of negativity is good for us.
You mentioned how gratitude can help our body. How does something we think help our physical body?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been thousands and thousands of scientific studies. Gratitude can help you to exercise more. Gratitude can help you to boost your immune system, to have a stronger immune system. It helps to lower your blood pressure. It helps to um, uh, decrease the negativity, increase your happiness. It helps to lower your stress, lower that inflammation, and to really go from that sympathetic to the parasympathetic, like turn on those happy hormones. And gratitude is even known to help individuals with PTSD and really severe trauma. And then gratitude also can help you live 7 years longer. So I don't know about you, but that's kind of cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So, where do we start to become more grateful?
Great question. And whenever I answer this, I want to hear from you guys then about what your gratitude practice is. So, what I like to say is to meet gratitude where gratitude is at and let gratitude meet you where you're at. I mean, we all have different personalities. I'm sure all 5 of you, right? All 5 of you boys have different personalities, right?
Yeah.
So, what works for someone may not work for someone else. And what we hear all the time is, oh, just make a list of 3 things you're grateful for. And, and especially now you talked about Thanksgiving, like it's a day off school, but, it's a day that we're like, oh, we're supposed to be grateful today. And everyone's got the thankful, grateful, blessed t-shirts on. Well, gratitude, it's not something that you do, and it's not necessarily an action. It's more of who you become. So saying thank you is an action, but being grateful, like that's actually a feeling. So there's a big difference, but no one teaches us that. If we are like, okay, I'm going through something, and we look up an article, and the experts are like, how to overcome whatever, fill in the blank, and you go down that article and it says practice gratitude, and it's in bold because it's important, but it doesn't really say anything other than make a list of 3 things or maybe do some journaling. So, a great way to get started, and again, you want to feel it. You actually want to feel gratitude, not just make a list, right? So, are you familiar with Dr. Robert Rome's DISC personality at all? Have you had any experts on talk about him? Do you know?
Maybe we've had lots of
Okay. So I've been following him for years, and he basically divides us into 4 different personalities. I mean, there's a million different personality types, but with his model, he divides it into 4 different personality types, and that's how I've really modeled, kind of my gratitude, the way I teach it after. So the first one are the doers and the drivers, the ones that just always want to take charge and always want to be in charge, and always the first in line. And I like to say those are my attitude of gratitude. The second ones, so for them, what you want to do, if this you think this sounds like you actually want to make gratitude almost like a competition. So just kind of think, okay, I was grateful yesterday, so how can I be more grateful today? What's going on in my life, and how can I be more grateful today? And you just make it a competition with yourself. So, and especially for kids, the best way to do this is at the dinner table. So just the person who's always in charge, the attitude of gratitude, you're like, okay, I'm in charge of gratitude at the dinner table. And then make a game, make it fun, and come up with something creative to get everyone to kind of challenge each other with gratitude. The second personality is the life of the party, the one who always wants to be around friends and always wants to be around people, and always kind of happy. And if that's you, the best way to really feel the gratitude is to feel the joy, feel the happiness, and feel the sparkle of the gratitude, and share it with your friends. And if that's you also at the dinner table, what you can do, again, just make a game of it and have fun with everyone at the dinner table. Now, the third personality is the one who's going to be a little more quiet, the one who is a little more sensitive, the one who's would rather read a book than go to a friend's house. So for you, really just this is the bedtime, ritual before bed, is to really feel that gratitude, in all 5 of your senses. And I call this the heart of gratitude. Sorry, the first one was the attitude of gratitude. The second one was what I call the gratitude glitterati. The third one's the heart of gratitude, the more sensitive and quiet. And then the fourth one is the person who always likes to be very logical, very organized, loves routine. And for you, you actually are the gratitude list maker, 25% of the population. So you're actually going to love making gratitude lists, and to really think of it not just from a list perspective, but think, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5 or a scale of 1 to 10, how did I feel yesterday and why? And then, be curious and put that detective hat on. And, and then for you, you can also make that gratitude list in the morning or at night. But again, put some feeling into it and put some substance behind it. So I have to ask, which one do you guys think you are?
I feel like
Um,
the headless high one.
Kasim, you're the heart of gratitude?
yeah, I
You
think I
think?
might be
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
I'm
Gratitude glitterati.
2. Mom, what about you?
That rhymes. I'm 2. Okay.
The second one? Yeah.
I think I'm like 4. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You like things in order?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Abdullah? What's he?
Probably
3.
either a 3 or a 1.
Okay.
He kind of
Yeah.
likes to
Read
be
a
by
lot.
himself.
He likes to read a lot.
He likes to read a
I
lot,
like to read.
Yeah.
but he also
So,
likes that.
so how do you guys practice gratitude?
We pray.
So we wake up every morning and we list 10 things we're grateful for. We can say them in our mind or we can put them in our head. Not say, put you well, same thing. No, we can put them in our mind or we can sing it. Thank you for my eyes. Thank you for my ears. Thank you for a view. So it goes like that. And then, so basically in that song, we just list many things that we're grateful for. And we really think about it every single day. And like, let's say we're thankful for a house. We're thankful for the food. We're thankful for like everything in our life. And the list is like infinite, basically.
Yeah.
Like you
It
could,
is.
it is, yeah. Like just be thankful that you're like living today. Be thankful that fresh air, like lots of things to be thankful for. So
And make sure you feel it. Make sure you
yeah,
feel it. You don't
that's
just
why we
check
put
it
it in
off.
the
You just
song.
feel it. Yeah. Yeah. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. Yeah. I was gonna say, I know your mom has been practicing gratitude with you from day
Mhm, yeah.
one. So yeah. You're very fortunate because a lot of parents don't.
So what is how can adults be more grateful? Because we talked about how kids can be more grateful, but what about adults? Because adults have a lot of stress too, and they're going to work every day doing the exact same thing, maybe, and it's just a lot of stress on them. So how are they going to deal with this?
Yeah, absolutely. And the adults could do the exact same thing as the
Mhm.
kids with, with the 4 different personalities, but really it's just taking the time to slow down and to be mindful and really understand that you have a choice. You
Mhm.
can either live in the negative or you can live in the positive. And it's hard sometimes, and especially as an adult and all the pressures, that adults have to really be bogged down in that negativity and that place of gratitude. It doesn't mean that the negativity, the stuff that happens can still be there, but you just have to make that choice. Do I want to view this as something negative or do I want to view this as something positive? And when you do make that choice to really lean into the gratitude, that's when
Mhm.
your brain chemistry changes. I mean, literally it will infiltrate every single cell of your body if you let it.
Wow, that
Wow.
is amazing.
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 What is one thing kids can do today?
So what is what was another question?
Where can we learn more about you and your work?
Yeah, so I have the Gratitude Builds Fortitude podcast where I talk about all things gratitude and mental resilience. And do you know what fortitude means?
What?
For the word fortitude, it means
I've
basically
heard
like
it.
Yeah, it means mental resilience. So basically, it's where we talk about the comeback story. When you are going through something negative in life and you come out on the other side and you just make a decision that I don't want life to be this bad anymore and I want to do something about it. So that's what I talk about on the Gratitude Builds Fortitude podcast. And then also Instagram at holly.bertone. And I love hanging out on Instagram, and I always answer my DMs. So if anyone's listening and wants to say hello there, that would be great.
So that is so empowering. Everyone, make sure to follow Miss Holly on social media. So thank you so much, Miss Holly. Let's recap your key points. Gratitude can drive your train and help you to get to healing and beyond knowing there. When something negative happens, it starts really small and it doesn't bother us. But when it really starts to affect us, it can have a really big impact on our body. Neurons in our brain that fire together also wire together. So the suffer cycle gets bigger and bigger, and then it starts to take control of us. When we have so much negativity in our body, it dictates our life. But there's good news. Gratitude can come to the rescue. Gratitude brings for happiness hormones to the party and help the reverse the suffer system and negativity. Remember, there's a time to feel your feelings when you go through tough times. It's because stuff happens in life. But gratitude can help us, not sad or angry, and doesn't last as long. So gratitude can also boost our immune system. So gratitude is like a really unique gratitude, like a thing a lot. Decrease the negativity and increase happiness. Lowers inflammation. Gratitude can also even increase your life by 7 years. That's 7 whole years. That's 7 times 12. 84. Right? Okay. Start where you are at. So gratitude is not an action, but it is actually who you become. So find a practice that best suits your personality. Make sure you feel your gratitude for the doers. For the doers' attitude of gratitude, make gratitude a competition. We love to add gratitude to the dinner table, make it fun. Personality that 2 is the personality that's fun for the gratitude. Feel the joy and share it with your friends. 3, the quiet, sensitive personality, become bedtime ritual before bed. 4 is the logical one, the one that loves routine. Gratitude lists are great for them. They take them slow and be more mindful. You have a choice. Your perspective can either be your power or your protection or your pain. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Imad.
And I'm Kasim.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom D, and look out for my mom's book. She has written a lot of them. And we are so thankful that our book is coming out 2025. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah!
Let's go!
So kids need to learn for other kids. Please download our podcast and iTunes and leave reviews so other kids and families can benefit. We need to work together to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kid Show, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you, everyone. And thank you again, Miss Holly. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you for having me on the show, and thanks for all you do.